There are moments in a performer's life that no applause can measure. And one night, in 1975, inside the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, that moment came for Elvis Presley. The crowd was alive, minus 18,000 voices humming, lights flashing, that electric buzz that always came before the king took the stage. Pause, and then, the spotlight hit him. White jumpsuit, diamond-studded cape. The room roared, but somewhere beyond that sea of faces, a whisper was about to change everything. 3 open loops hung in the air. Who whispered his name? Why did Elvis suddenly stop mid-song? And what happened after the music faded? Silence stretches for a beat that night. Even the spotlight would learn how to cry. Asterisk, it started quietly. A mother, clutching her child, trying to be strong. Her son, 7-year-old Danny Sullivan, was terminally ill. All he wanted before his time ran out was to see Elvis. To tell him he loved him. Danny sat near the front, weak but glowing. Holding a small folded program with trembling fingers, his own little treasure, Elvis began to sing Can't Help Falling in Love. The hall swayed, lighters flickered. Then, halfway through, a faint voice rose from the crowd. Elvis, I love you. He heard it. Elvis froze. His band looked up. Something in that small voice broke through every layer of fame and sound. And with the microphone still in his hand, he said softly, hold on, folks. What did that little boy say? Asterisk, no one could believe it. The king of rock and roll, mid-song, mid-show, had stopped the music. The hall went silent. You could hear hearts beating. He set his guitar down, eyes scanning the crowd until they met a mother's tearful gaze. She pointed to her son. Elvis stepped off the stage. Security hesitated, but one look from him and they stepped aside. The spotlight followed as he walked through the stunned audience, boots echoing on the floor. Danny's small face looked up at him. Hey there, little man, Elvis said, kneeling down. The boy's voice trembled. I just wanted to say, I love you. Elvis's throat tightened. He took off his own blue silk scarf and tied it gently around Danny's neck. That scarf, his symbol of life on stage, became something holy in that moment. He whispered, I love you too, son. For a few seconds, no one breathed. Then applause, not the wild kind, but the human kind. The kind that comes from 18,000 people realizing they've just witnessed something sacred. Asterisk after the show. Elvis called for the family to come backstage. Danny was frail, his mother trembling as Elvis reached out his hand. The air smelled faintly of cologne and guitar strings. The only sound, the quiet rustle of clothing as people moved out of the way. Elvis sat Danny on a chair and said, Kid, what's your favorite song? Danny whispered, Love Me Tender. So Elvis sang. Not to an arena, not to fame, but to one soul who needed it most. No microphone, no spotlight. Just a man and a boy, sharing a final lullaby between this world and the next. Asterisk, when Elvis returned to the stage to close the show, something in his voice had changed. He sang again, Love Me Tender, and this time 18,000 people stood. Tears flowed freely. Mothers held children tighter. Men bowed their heads. The entire Coliseum seemed to understand this wasn't entertainment anymore. It was communion. As the final chord faded, Elvis raised his hand and pointed toward the section where Danny had sat. Tonight, he said quietly, we sang for someone special. A single guitar strum echoed. Then, an ocean of applause. Asterisk, Danny passed away a few months later. But before he did, he kept that blue scarf beside his bed every night. He told his mother, Elvis made me brave. When the news reached Graceland, Elvis locked himself in his music room. For hours, no sound came out. And then, faintly, through the night air, the strum of his guitar, the same melody he'd sung for that little boy. That scarf became a symbol not of stardom, but of connection. Years later, fans would speak of it as the night Elvis's heart outshined the crown. Asterisk even now. If you listen closely to that old concert recording, you can feel it, that sudden hush, that ripple of emotion when music turned into mercy. Because that night, Elvis Presley didn't perform for a crowd. He performed for humanity. And maybe that's why, decades later, his memory still feels alive, not for his fame, but for the moments he stopped everything, to remind us what love really sounds like. I remember hearing that story for the first time as a kid. It made me believe that greatness isn't about how loud the world cheers for you, it's about the silence you leave behind. Disclaimer, some moments are lightly dramatized for narrative effect. And maybe, just maybe, stories like these remind us that love, music, and memory never fade. If this touched your heart, share it and subscribe for more. Asterisk.